The 20 mistakes that kill preppers. In month 3, let me tell you something most preppers never hear until it's too late. The disaster doesn't kill you. The disaster is loud. It's fast. It gets all the attention. Everybody preps for the first night. The blackout, the storm, the moment the shelves go empty and the phones go dark. But that's not where people fall apart. People fall apart in month 3. I've watched it happen. Not in some movie, in real life. Regular folks who did everything the YouTube videos told them to do. They bought the food. They filled the buckets. They felt ready. And 90 days later, they were standing in their own kitchen, staring at a shelf full of stuff, quietly starving, or sick, or so worn down in the head they couldn't think straight. I call it the month 3 wall. It's the exact point where the excitement wears off and the reality sets in. The adrenaline that carried you through the first few weeks, gone. The little problems you ignored on day 1, they've grown teeth. And every small mistake you made back when things were calm comes due all at once. Here's the part that'll bother you. Almost nobody sees the wall coming. Because in month 1, you feel like a genius. You've got food when nobody else does. You feel smart, safe, ahead of the game. That good feeling is a trap. It's the thing that hides the 20 mistakes I'm about to walk you through. 20 mistakes. I've made a few of them myself. I've seen good people make the rest. And by the end of this, you're going to know exactly which ones are sitting in your own plan right now, waiting. Some of these you've heard before. Fine. But at least 3 of them are going to catch you off guard. There's one near the end that flips everything you think you know about being prepared. Stick with me, because if you click off early, you're going to miss the exact mistake that trips up the people who thought they had it all figured out. Grab a coffee. Sit down. Let's talk about the wall and the 20 ways people hit it. Mistake number 1. You stocked food you don't actually eat. This is the first one, and it's the sneakiest, so pay attention. When most people build a stockpile, they buy food like they're stocking a museum. Big bags of plain white rice, cases of beans, buckets of wheat, stuff that lasts forever and costs almost nothing per meal. On paper, it's perfect. In month 3, it's a nightmare. Here's what nobody tells you. There's a huge difference between food that keeps you alive and food you can actually stand to eat, meal after meal, day after day, for months. Those are not the same thing. Let me paint you the picture. Month 1, you're fine. You're running on nerves and excitement. You'll eat plain rice and be grateful. Month 2, it's getting old. By month 3, you sit down to another gray bowl of the same thing you've had 90 times in a row, and something in your brain just quits. It's called food fatigue. And it's real. It's documented. Soldiers deal with it. Disaster survivors deal with it. People stop eating enough not because they're out of food, but because they can't force down one more bite of the same bland mush. Now think about who's at your table. Kids won't eat it. Older folks won't eat it. And a body that isn't eating is a body that's getting weaker right when it needs to be strong. The fix is simple, and I want you to actually do it. Store food your family already loves. The stuff they eat on a normal Tuesday. Then add flavor, spices, hot sauce, bouillon, salt. These weigh nothing, cost almost nothing, and last for years. A $5 jar of seasoning can be the thing that keeps your people eating in month 3. Test it now. Live off your stockpile for 3 days this week. No cheating, no grocery run. You'll find out fast whether you built a food supply or a food museum. Let me tell you about a family I knew who learned this the hard way. Good people, serious about prepping. They bought a mountain of plain oats and plain rice because it was cheap and it lasted. Smart on paper. But when a bad stretch hit and they had to actually live off it, the kids revolted by week 2. Wouldn't eat. The parents were forcing gray mush on crying children 3 times a day, and the whole house was at each other's throats. Not because they ran out of food, because they had the wrong food. They fixed it later with nothing but a box of spices and some powdered cheese and some cans of soup to mix in. Cost them almost nothing. But they had to learn it in the middle of a bad time instead of before. And that's the hard way to learn anything. And here's a piece most people miss. Variety isn't just about taste. It's about nutrition too. If you eat the exact same 3 things every single day for 3 months, you're not just bored. You're missing pieces your body needs. Different foods bring different things to the table, so a stockpile with some range in it keeps your body running right, not just your mood. Remember that word, museum. Because mistake number 2 is what happens to that museum when nobody's watching the calendar. Mistake number 2, you never rotated anything. So you've got your food, it's on the shelf. You feel good, you close the pantry door and you walk away. That right there is mistake number 2. You treated your stockpile like a statue. Something you build once and admire. But a stockpile isn't a statue. It's a living thing. It's got a clock running on every single can. And that clock does not stop just because you stop looking. Here's the ugly truth about month 3. You go to that back shelf, the one you were so proud of, and you start pulling cans. And half of them are past date. The rice in the cheap bag has weevils. The stuff you bought during that panic 2 years ago and shoved in the corner. Ruined. You never touched it. You never checked it. You never moved it. I've seen a man open a bucket he'd been counting on for a year and find a solid brick of spoiled flour. The look on his face. He thought he had 6 months of food. He had a garbage bag. The mistake is thinking storage is a one-time job. It's not. It's a habit. There's a system the serious folks use. And it's dead simple. It's called first in, first out. Oldest food up front, newest food in the back. You eat from the front, you restock from behind. Nothing sits long enough to die. You write it down, a cheap notebook, what you have and when it dies. You check it every month like you check the oil in your truck. And here's the part that makes it easy. You eat your stockpile, on purpose, all the time. You cook with it. You live off it a little every week and you replace what you use. That way it's always fresh. You always know how to cook it, and you never open a bucket of surprise in the middle of a crisis. A stockpile you never touch is a stockpile that's slowly rotting behind a closed door. Now, food going bad is one problem, but there's a mistake that'll starve you even when every can is perfectly good. That's number 3, and it's the one that fools the smartest preppers of all. Mistake number 3. You counted cans instead of calories. This one gets the people who think they're way ahead. They open the pantry, they see it packed floor to ceiling, cans stacked like bricks. And they think, I've got months of food. Do you though? Because here's what almost nobody actually does. They never do the math. And in month 3, the math is what gets you. Your body doesn't run on cans. It runs on calories. A grown adult needs somewhere around 2,000 calories a day just to keep the lights on. And if you're chopping wood, hauling water, walking miles, staying warm in the cold, and sleeping bad because you're stressed, that number climbs way up. 2,500, 3,000, maybe more. Now go look at what's actually in a lot of survival food. A can of green beans, 30 calories. A can of soup, maybe 200 if you're lucky. People stack up 100 cans of low-calorie stuff and feel rich. But add it up and it's a week of real energy, not a month, a week. So what happens? Month 1, you don't notice. You've got fat on your bones and food in your gut. Month 2, your pants are looser. Month 3, you're tired all the time. Cold, foggy, slow. You're not starving in a dramatic movie way. You're fading, quietly, a little every day. Because you've been eating 300 calories and burning 3,000 and your own body has been making up the difference the whole time. Until there's nothing left to make it up with. The fix is to think in calories, not cans. Build your stockpile around dense stuff. Rice, oats, pasta, beans, peanut butter, cooking oil, honey. Foods that pack a punch per bite. Then do the actual arithmetic. 2,000 calories times how many people? Times how many days? That's your number. Write it on the wall. Most folks who think they have 3 months of food really have 3 weeks of energy. Don't be most folks. Here's a quick way to check yourself, and it'll take you 10 minutes tonight. Go grab 5 random items off your prepper shelf. Flip them over. Read the calories per serving, and count how many servings are really in there. Then do a little math. How many days would those 5 items actually feed one person? Most people are shocked. They pick up a can they thought was a meal, and find out it's a snack. That shock is a gift because it's happening now in your kitchen and not in month 3 when it's too late to fix. And let me point you at the heavy hitters, the foods that give you the most energy for your money and your space. Cooking oil is the king. It's almost pure energy. It's cheap, and a little goes a long way. Peanut butter, honey, rice, pasta, oats, beans, powdered milk, sugar. These are the foods that carried whole nations through hard times, and they'll carry you. Build your base on the dense stuff, then add the cans and the flavor on top. Get that backwards. Stack up 100 cans of low-calorie veggies and call it done. And you've built a pantry that looks full and eats empty. And speaking of things people forget to count, there's something more important than food. You can go weeks without food. You can't go 3 days without this next one. That's mistake number 4. Mistake number 4. You stored food but forgot the water. Everybody remembers food. It's exciting. It's on all the videos, buckets and cans and shelves. Water. Water's boring. And boring is exactly why it kills people in month 3. Let me put it plain. You can survive about 3 weeks with no food. You'll be miserable, but you'll live. With no water, you're in serious trouble in 3 days, dead in a week. Water isn't part of the plan. Water is the plan. Food is the thing you worry about after water's handled. Now here's where month 3 sneaks up on you. In the first few weeks, the taps might still work, or you've got a case of bottled water and a few jugs. You feel covered. But water gets used up fast. You don't just drink it, you cook with it, you clean with it, you wash with it. A person needs about a gallon a day, and that's just to stay alive and a little bit clean. For a family, that's insane amounts. Fast. By month 3, those jugs are empty. The store shelves are long gone. And now you're looking at the creek behind the house, or the rain barrel, or the pond down the road, and you're realizing you have no safe way to make that water drinkable. That's the trap. It's not that you run out of water. It's that you run out of clean water, and you never set up a way to make more. So here's what you do. You store what you can. But more important, you get the ability to make dirty water safe. A good gravity filter is worth its weight in gold. Plain unscented bleach can treat water in a pinch. And you should know the ratio cold. Boiling works if you've got fuel. Best plan is to have 2 or 3 of these ways, not just one. Store some, make more. That's the whole game with water. Let me give you the real numbers so this hits home. One person needs about a gallon a day. Not just for drinking, mind you. Drinking, cooking, brushing teeth, washing up a little. A gallon a day, minimum, and that's scraping by. Now say you've got a family of 4. That's 4 gallons a day. For 1 month, that's 120 gallons. For 3 months to get you to that month 3 wall we keep talking about. You're looking at over 350 gallons of water. Read that again. 350 gallons. Most people who feel prepared have a couple cases of bottled water and a few jugs. That's a day or 2, not a plan. I'm not telling you to go store 300 gallons in your garage, though some folks do. I'm telling you the stored water is only ever a bridge. The real answer is the ability to make dirty water safe, over and over, for as long as you need. That's what turns a pond, a creek, a rain barrel, even a swimming pool, into a water supply that doesn't quit. A good filter and some bleach, and the know-how to use them beat a wall of bottled water every single time, because the wall of bottles runs out. The skill doesn't. And here's a spot people forget. You've already got water hiding in your house right now. Your water heater is holding 30, 40, 50 gallons of clean, drinkable water this second. Learn how to drain it from the valve at the bottom before you ever need to. There's clean wet line in the tank behind your toilet, not the bowl, the tank. There's water in every can of vegetables and fruit on your shelf. When the taps die, your house is still holding more water than most people realize. Know where it hides before the lights go out. Now, boiling water takes fuel. Cooking your food takes fuel. And that leads straight into one of the most overlooked mistakes on this whole list. Number 5. Mistake number 5. You have food you can't cook. Picture this. Month 3. You're hungry. You go to the shelf and you grab a bag of dry beans and a bag of rice. Good, dense food. The stuff I told you to buy. Now cook it. With what? The power's out. The gas line's dead or you're out. And you're standing there holding a pound of rock-hard beans that need to boil for 2 hours before a human can eat them. And you've got nothing to boil them with. That's mistake number 5, and it's one of the quietest killers on the list. People stock up on food that has to be cooked. And they never once stop to think about how they're going to cook it when the normal way to cook is gone. Dry beans, rice, pasta, oats, flour, all fantastic, all useless without heat and water. A lot of long-term food is exactly this kind. It's cheap and it lasts forever precisely because it's raw. And raw food you can't cook is just wait on a shelf. In the first week you might grill in the backyard. Feels like an adventure. But fuel runs out shocking fast when it's the only way you're eating. That propane tank you figured would last? A couple weeks of real cooking and it's a paperweight. Then what? Here's the fix, and it's 2 parts. Part 1. Have a way to cook that doesn't need the grid. A small rocket stove that burns twigs. A propane setup with way more fuel than you think you need. A simple wood setup you can actually use. And know how to use it before you're hungry. Part 2, and this is the smart move. Store some food that needs 0 cooking. Canned meat you can eat cold. Peanut butter, crackers, trail mix, honey. Foods that ask nothing of you on a bad day. Because there will be days you're too tired, too cold, or too out of fuel to cook. And on those days, this is what keeps you going. Food plus fuel plus water. All 3 or you've got none of them. All right, you've got food you'll eat, you rotate it, you counted the calories. You've got water and a way to cook. You'd think you're set, but there's a hidden hole in most stockpiles that turns strong people weak, and almost nobody plans for it. Mistake number 6. Mistake number 6. You've got no fat and it's wrecking you. This one is sneaky science, so let me make it simple. Most stockpiles are built on carbs, rice, pasta, beans, wheat, cheap, dense, long-lasting. And that's a good backbone. But if that's all you've got, your body is going to run into a wall in month 3 that most people have never even heard of. You need fat, real fat, and most preppers have almost none. Here's why it matters. Fat is the most powerful fuel your body can burn. Gram for gram, it carries more than twice the energy of rice or sugar. About 9 calories in a single gram. Nothing else on your shelf comes close. When you're cold, when you're working hard, when you're trying to hold weight on your bones, fat is what does the heavy lifting. There's more. Some of the things your body needs, it can only pull out of fat. Certain vitamins won't even absorb without it. So you can be eating, technically, and still be sliding into problems because the pieces don't fit together without fat in the mix. There's even an old danger with a name. When people try to live on nothing but lean food, no fat at all, they get sick in a specific, awful way. Trappers and explorers wrote about it a century ago. Their bodies fell apart eating plenty of lean meat because there was no fat to go with it. You do not want to rediscover that in your own kitchen. So what do you store? Cooking oil. It's cheap, and it packs a punch. Olive oil, vegetable oil, coconut oil. Store extra. Then there's one that's almost magic for this. Ghee. That's butter with the milk solids taken out. It doesn't need a fridge. It lasts for years on a shelf. And it's nearly pure fat. 9 calories a gram, ready to go. Peanut butter, nuts, lard, canned meats that still have the fat in them. All of it counts. Aim to have real fat woven all through your stockpile, not as an afterthought. It's the difference between food that fills your stomach and food that actually holds your body together. Now here's a turn you might not expect. The next mistake isn't about your body at all. It's about your mind. And it takes down more preppers than hunger ever will. Number 7. Mistake number 7. You forgot the little things that keep people sane. I told you at the start there was one that would catch you off guard. This might be it. Because mistake number 7 isn't about survival gear. It's about the small stuff, the comfort stuff. The things that seem silly to store when you're busy buying beans and bullets. And it's the reason a lot of well-stocked families come apart at the seams around month 3. Let me tell you about a buddy of mine. Prepared guy. Serious. He had food for a year, water handled, the whole setup. And about 10 weeks in, you know what nearly broke him? No coffee. That's it. He'd run out of coffee and cigarettes, and every morning felt like dragging a plow. His mood tanked. He snapped at his family. The whole house went sour. Not from danger, from the missing little things. Here's the thing people don't understand until they live it. When the world gets hard and gray and every day is the same grind, the small comforts stop being luxuries. They become the thing holding your spirit together. A hot cup of coffee, something sweet, a piece of candy for a kid who's scared, a familiar taste that reminds you that life used to be normal and might be again. These things cost almost nothing right now. Coffee, sugar, hard candy, chocolate, salt, your favorite spices, a little tobacco if that's your thing, a few decks of cards, some good soap, things that make a hard day feel a little less hard. In month 3, morale isn't a soft word. It's survival. A person who's lost hope stops taking care of themselves, stops thinking straight, makes bad calls, gives up. And a whole family can spiral off one person losing their grip. Here's the thing the military figured out a long time ago. They don't feed soldiers plain nutrition paste, even though it'd be cheaper and lighter. They put treats in the rations. A little chocolate, gum, coffee, hot sauce. Why? Because they learned the hard way that a soldier's spirit is as important as his stomach. A small taste of comfort in a miserable moment can be the thing that keeps a man going one more day. If the toughest fighting forces on earth take morale that seriously, you can too, in your own home, for the people you love. And think about the kids for a second. To a scared child, the world just turned upside down. No lights, no school, mom and dad are tense. It's frightening. A piece of candy, a favorite snack, a familiar treat that's not spoiling them. That's a little island of normal in a scary sea. It tells them, without words, that things are going to be okay. That comfort might do more for that child than a whole shelf of survival food. Don't underestimate it. So here's your homework on this one. Sit down and think about the small things that make your people feel human. The morning coffee, a sweet treat after dinner, a favorite spice, and go get a good supply of those. Cheap and easy, right now, while they're on the shelf. It's some of the best prepping money you'll ever spend. So when you build your stockpile, leave room for joy. Real room. Because you're not just keeping bodies alive, you're keeping people together. And people run on more than calories. Write down 3 small comforts your family couldn't stand to lose, and go buy them this week. Now, comfort keeps your own people steady. But there's a threat coming from outside your house that most preppers make 10 times worse with one dumb habit. That's mistake number 8. You told people you're prepped. Be honest with yourself on this one. How many people know you've got food stored? Your neighbor? Your co-worker? That guy at church? Did you post about it? Show somebody your setup because you were proud of it. That's mistake number 8. And in month 3, it can put your whole family in danger. Here's how it works. In the good times, being the prepared one feels great. You mention it. You show it off a little. It's natural. Everybody wants to feel smart. But every person who knows what you have is a person who will remember it the day their own kids get hungry. And here's the part that's hard to hear. It won't be strangers that come knocking. It'll be people you know. Good people. Desperate people. The neighbor you wave to. Your own extended family. In month 1, everybody's calm. Everybody's sharing. But by month 3, When their shelves are bare and yours aren't. That friendly face changes. Hunger changes people. It changes what they're willing to do. Now you've got a choice no one wants. Turn away someone you know and watch them go hungry. Or feed the whole street and watch your family's food vanish in a week. Both of those are terrible, and you walked yourself into it by talking too much. The word for keeping quiet is discretion, and it's one of the strongest tools you've got, and it's free. So starting now, you go quiet. You don't show the stockpile. You don't brag. You don't post. When the trucks bring your supplies, you bring them in when nobody's watching. If a nosy person asks, you're just a normal household, getting by like everybody else. Gray, boring, forgettable. The best defended stockpile is the one nobody knows exists. Now staying quiet handles the people problem for a while. But there's a deeper mistake underneath all of this. It's the belief that a stockpile alone can save you. And that belief falls apart in a way most people never see coming. Mistake number 9. You have no way to make more. Here's a question that stops most preppers cold. Your stockpile, however big it is, 3 months, a year, whatever. What happens when it runs out? Because it will run out. That's the whole nature of a stockpile. Every meal you eat is one you can never get back. It's a countdown. A pile that only ever gets smaller. And month 3 is where you finally feel that countdown in your gut. That's mistake number 9. Treating your food supply as the finish line, when it's really just the clock you're racing against. Let me explain the trap. In month 1, the pile looks endless. You eat and it barely dips. But by month 3, you can see the bottom coming. You start counting, rationing, getting scared, because you did the math and you realize the pile ends, and you have no idea what happens after that. The people who make it aren't the ones with the biggest pile. They're the ones who can make more food. That's the whole difference. Storing food buys you time. Making food buys you a future. This is the jump most preppers never make. From storing to producing. And you don't need a farm. You need to start learning right now while it's easy. Seeds. Store real seeds. The kind that grow plants that make more seeds. Learn to grow the heavy hitters. Potatoes, beans, squash, greens, things that put real calories on the table. Even a small garden, a few pots on a balcony, a corner of the yard, changes the whole equation. Learn to keep the harvest, canning, drying, fermenting. The old skills that turn one good summer into food that lasts all winter. A few chickens if you can, a fishing pole, traps if that's your world. Every one of these turns your stockpile from a dead end into a bridge. Here's the honest part. You can't learn this in month 3. Your first garden mostly fails. That's just how it goes, which means you have to be failing at it now, in the easy times, so you're good at it when it counts. Store food to survive the crisis. Grow food to survive what comes after. And let me be real with you about how big this shift is. Because it changes everything about how you prep. The person who only stores food is always losing. Every day the pile shrinks, and there's nothing they can do but watch it go. The person who can grow and make food has turned a corner. Their supply can hold steady, or even climb. One is running out the clock. The other has stopped the clock. That's the whole game. You don't need acres. You need to start small and start now. A few pots of tomatoes and peppers on a windowsill. A bag of potatoes in a corner of the yard. Some herbs. It won't feed the family off the bat. And that's fine. The point isn't the harvest yet. The point is that you're learning, failing, and getting better while the stakes are low. A dozen skills like this, learned in the easy times, are worth more than another dozen buckets of rice. Because buckets run out, skills don't. Now, you can have all the food in the world, stored and growing, and still go down hard. Because the next mistake attacks your body from the inside. And you won't even see it until you're already sick. Number 10. You have no fresh food, and it's making you sick. This one is quiet, and it's mean. and it hits right around month 3 like clockwork. You've been living off stored food, cans, rice, beans, pasta. You've got calories, you're eating. So why do you feel like garbage? Your gums are sore, cuts won't heal. You're bruising easy, you're tired down in your bones and you can't shake it. You feel low, weak, off. That's your body running out of the stuff that only comes from fresh food, vitamins. And it's mistake number 10. Here's the deal. Dried and canned food keeps you alive, but a lot of it loses the delicate vitamins over time, especially vitamin C. Your body can't store much of it and can't make its own. Run low for a couple months and your body starts to break down in specific, nasty ways. There's an old sailor's disease for exactly this. Men on long voyages, plenty of food in the hold, dropping dead anyway. Bleeding gums, teeth falling out, old wounds ripping back open. All because there was no fresh food, no vitamin C. It took the world a long time to figure out that one. And you do not want to relearn it the hard way in your own home. So how do you dodge it? First, grow something green, even a little. Sprouts are the cheat code here. A jar, some seeds. A few days, and you've got fresh living greens packed with vitamins. Grown on your counter with no soil and no sun. Everybody who stores food should know how to sprout. It's that good. Second, store a backup. Vitamin C tablets are dirt cheap and last a long time. A basic multivitamin for every person in your house covers a lot of gaps. It's the cheapest insurance in all of prepping. Third, when you can food from a garden, you keep more of the good stuff than the factory does. You are not just filling your stomach, you are keeping your body's machine running. And that machine needs more than fuel. It needs the small parts too. Now, vitamins are one health gap. But there's a bigger one that can turn a small problem into a funeral. And modern life has made almost all of us soft on it. Mistake number 11. You didn't plan for medicine. Let's get serious for a minute, because this one is life and death. Think about the medicine in your house right now. Mistake number 11. You didn't plan for medicine. Let's get serious for a minute, because this one is life and death. Think about the medicine in your house right now. The prescriptions, the daily pills somebody depends on, blood pressure, heart, diabetes, the stuff that quietly keeps a person alive. Most of that comes 30 days at a time, 90 if you're lucky. Now line that up against the month 3 wall, and you see the problem instantly. That's mistake number 11. Building a food fortress and forgetting that food isn't the only thing your family runs out of. Here's how it plays out. Month 2, the bottle's getting light. Month 3, it's empty. And there's no pharmacy, no refill, no doctor answering, and a person who was perfectly stable is suddenly in real danger. Not from the disaster, but from a bottle running dry. And it's not just prescriptions. It's the everyday stuff you never think about until it's gone. Pain reliever, fever medicine, something for an upset stomach, bandages, antiseptic, the basic first aid that turns a small cut into nothing instead of into an infection that could kill you when there's no hospital to run to. That's the real danger in month 3. Little injuries that used to be nothing become big deals. A cut, a burn, a bad tooth, a stomach bug. In normal times, you shrug those off. In a long crisis, with no care and a run-down body, they can spiral fast. So here's what you do. Talk to your doctor about getting ahead on the prescriptions that matter. Some will work with you on an extra supply if you explain why. Stock a deep first aid kit, not the little plastic box, a real one. Pain meds, fever meds, anti-diarrhea, bandages, antiseptic, the works. Learn basic first aid, a cheap class or a good book. Know how to stop bleeding and clean a wound before you have to. And don't forget the boring stuff that prevents sickness in the first place. Which, funny enough, is the exact next mistake. But first understand this. Your medicine cabinet needs a stockpile just as much as your pantry does. Now, everything we've talked about so far assumes your supplies are safe. But there's a mistake in how people store it all that can wipe out months of work in a single afternoon. Mistake number 12. You put all your eggs in one spot. Here's a mistake that feels smart when you do it and feels like a disaster when it bites. You built your stockpile in one place, the basement. The spare room. One big, beautiful wall of supplies. All together, easy to see, easy to count. And that's exactly the problem. Mistake number 12 is having a single point of failure. One spot where everything lives. Because if anything happens to that one spot, you don't lose some of your food. You lose all of it in one shot. Think about the ways it goes wrong. A fire, a flood, a pipe bursts in the basement and soaks the whole thing. A tree comes through the roof. Or the simplest one of all, somebody finds it, and they take it, every bit. And now you've got nothing and you're right back where the unprepared people started. Except it's month 3 and there's no store to run to. I knew a fellow who lost a year of food to a basement flood. One rainy week, gone. Buckets ruined, cans rusted, all of it. A whole year of work and money wiped out because it all sat in the lowest, wettest room in the house, in one pile. The fix is an old idea. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Spread it out. Keep food in a few different places. Some in the basement, sure, but some upstairs. Some in a closet. Some in the garage. If you've got a trusted spot away from home, a relative's place, a cabin, stash some there too. That way, no single bad day can take everything. There's a bonus to this. If someone does find one stash, they think they hit the jackpot and they leave. They never know about the other 3. You lose a piece instead of the whole thing. Spread it out. In different spots, in different heights, in different kinds of containers. Make it so no fire, no flood, no thief, and no bad luck can clean you out all at once. All right, your food is safe and spread out, but there's a threat growing in your own home in month 3 that has nothing to do with food or thieves. It's about to make your family sick, and it's mistake number 13. Mistake number 13. You ignored sanitation. Nobody wants to talk about this one. It's gross. It's boring. And it has probably killed more people in hard times than hunger and violence put together. Sanitation. Staying clean. Dealing with human waste. Keeping the germs away from your food and your body. Mistake number 13 is thinking survival is about food and water and forgetting the other end of it entirely. Here's the reality that hits in month 3. The toilets stop working. Think about that for a real second. No flush. The water's off, or the sewer's backed up. And now you've got a house full of people, and nowhere for the waste to go. And human waste is not just unpleasant, it's dangerous. It carries the kind of sickness that spreads through a whole family in days. This is how it goes historically. It's not the disaster that gets people, it's the disease that comes after. Dirty water, waste piling up, no way to wash hands. One person gets sick, then everyone does. Stomach bugs that make you throw up and run to the bathroom, which drains the water right out of you, which in a place with no clean water and no medicine, can actually kill, especially the little ones and the old ones. And it all starts with something as simple as no way to wash your hands before you eat. So here's your plan, and it's cheaper than almost anything else on this list. Have a way to deal with waste. A bucket toilet is simple and it works. A 5-gallon bucket, a seat lid, and heavy trash bags. Something to cover the smell and the germs, like sawdust or cat litter or lime. Know where you'll put it so it stays far from your food and water. Stock the cleaning basics. Soap, a lot of it. Hand sanitizer. Bleach, which cleans surfaces and treats water both. Paper products and a backup plan for when those run out. And this one matters more than people think. Extra supplies for the women in your house. That's not optional. That's dignity and health. Keeping clean isn't fussy. In month 3, it's one of the main things standing between your family and a sickness you can't treat. Now we've kept the body fed, watered, and clean. But there's one part of a person we haven't touched yet, and it's the part that fails first and quietest. Mistake number 14. Mistake number 14. You never trained your mind. We've talked a lot about the body. Food, water, health, clean. But I've been holding back the one that takes down more preppers than any of it. Your head. Mistake number 14 is prepping every part of yourself except your mind, and it's the one that cracks first. Here's what nobody warns you about. In month 3, the biggest enemy isn't hunger. It isn't thieves. It's the gray. The endless sameness. The same walls. The same faces. The same worry that never lets up. The fear that runs in the back of your head all day and won't turn off. The boredom, which sounds like nothing until you've lived it, and then it feels like it's eating you alive. This is real. There's a name for what happens to people locked in tight quarters under stress for too long. They call it cabin fever, but it's deeper than restlessness. People get low, hopeless. They snap at each other over nothing. They stop sleeping. They stop eating. Some just sit down and give up in a house full of food because their spirit ran out before their supplies did. And here's the cruel part. A strong body with a broken mind doesn't make it, but a steady mind can carry a weak body a long, long way. Your head is the master switch on the whole thing. So how do you prep your mind? You start now, and you take it as serious as the food. Have things to do. Books. Real ones, paper ones. Cards, games, a journal. A hobby you can do with your hands. Anything that gives your brain somewhere to go besides the fear. Keep a routine. This is a big one. When everything falls apart, a schedule holds a person together. Get up at the same time. Jobs to do. A rhythm to the day. Structure is a lifeline for a stressed mind. Lean on your people. Talk. Don't bottle it up. Keep some faith, whatever that means to you. Remember that hard times end. They always have. And toughen up a little now while it's cheap. Do hard things on purpose. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. A mind that's practiced at pushing through is a mind that won't quit in month 3. Feed your head like you feed your body, because it gets hungry too. Let me give you one more piece on this, because it might be the most important thing I say all day. The people who survive hard times, the ones who come out the other side still standing, they almost always have one thing in common. A reason, something bigger than themselves that they're holding on for. Their kids, their faith, a promise they made, a future they refuse to give up on. When the body wants to quit and the mind wants to quit, that reason is what drags a person forward anyway. So know your reason. Know it now, cold, before you ever need it. Because in month 3, when it's dark and hard and you're worn down to nothing, that reason is the last thing standing between you and giving up. And it turns out to be stronger than any wall of food you could ever store. And here's a small habit that keeps the mind steady, and it costs nothing. Find one thing to be grateful for every single day and say it out loud. Sounds soft, I know. It's not. When everything's going wrong, your brain locks onto the bad and won't let go. And that spiral is what breaks people. Naming one good thing a day. The kids are safe. We've got food. The sun came up. Breaks that spiral. It's a tiny thing that quietly holds a person together over the long haul. The old-timers knew it. It still works. Now here's where it all comes together. Because your mind isn't meant to carry this alone. And trying to is one of the biggest mistakes of all. Number 15. Mistake number 15. You tried to do it all alone. This is the big one. The one I hinted at way back at the start. The one that flips how you think about being prepared. So really hear me on this. Most preppers picture themselves as a lone wolf. One family, sealed up tight, doors locked, trusting nobody, riding it out alone. It feels strong. It feels safe. It's on all the covers. It's mistake number 15, and it's the one that gets the tough guys. Here's why going it alone fails. One family, no matter how sharp, cannot do everything. You've got to grow food, guard the place, cook, clean, fix what breaks, treat the sick, haul the water, keep watch at night, all at once. Forever. You can white-knuckle it for a few weeks. But this is month 3 we're talking about, and by month 3 the lone wolf is exhausted, stretched thin. One injury, one illness, one bad night away from the whole thing collapsing because there's nobody to tap in. Think about it plainly. You have to sleep. Who's watching while you sleep? You could get hurt. Who hunts and hauls then? You can't know everything. Who sets the bone, fixes the engine, knows the medicine you don't? Nobody makes it alone, not for long. That's not opinion. That's the whole story of how humans have survived every hard thing, ever. Not through lone heroes, through people banding together. One's got a well, one's got medical training, one can fix anything, one's got the land, one keeps watch. Together they make it, apart they don't. The strong move isn't a bigger stockpile. It's a few good people you trust. So start now, quietly. You don't broadcast it. Remember mistake number 8. But you find your handful. Family. A couple of neighbors you'd trust with your life. Old friends. People with skills you don't have. You don't have to announce a thing. You just build real bonds with solid people so that when it's needed, you already know who's got your back. Let me put some real weight on this, because I know the lone wolf idea is tempting. It feels safe to trust nobody. But do the simple math on a single day. Somebody has to keep watch, day and night, which means somebody's always awake and tired. Somebody has to cook, haul water, tend the garden, fix what breaks, care for the kids, watch the sick. That's more than a full day of work for one adult, every single day, forever. Nobody can hold that. Not you, not me, not the toughest person you've ever met. Month 1, maybe, on adrenaline. By month 3, the lone wolf is running on empty and one twisted ankle away from total collapse. Now picture 3 or 4 households instead. One family stands watch while the others sleep. One's good with a garden. One's a decent medic. One can fix an engine. One's got a strong back. Suddenly every job has somebody who's actually good at it. And everybody gets to rest. The work that crushes one family is easy for a group. That's not being soft. That's being smart. That's how humans have always done it. And you don't build this in a crisis. You can't walk up to strangers in month 3 and form a trusted team. Trust takes time. So you start now, quiet and slow like I said back in mistake 8. A cookout with the neighbors you like. Helping a buddy with a project. Getting to know the folks at church, or the range, or down the road. You're not recruiting an army. You're just building real friendships with solid people. So the bonds are already there when they matter. A lone wolf in month 3 is a tired, scared, worn-out person waiting for one thing to go wrong. A small group is a machine that keeps running even when one part breaks. You are not meant to carry this alone. Nobody is. Now, whether you're solo or in a group, there's a mistake that makes all your gear worthless, and almost everybody is guilty of it. Mistake number 16. You bought gear you never practiced with. Let me ask you something about all that gear you bought. The water filter, the camp stove, the generator, the fancy first aid kit, the tools. Have you actually used any of it, or is it still in the box? Mistake number 16 is buying gear and never touching it, collecting stuff instead of building skill. And month 3 is where that bill comes due, hard. Here's the scene that plays out over and over. Something breaks. It's dark, it's cold. People are scared and counting on you. And now, for the very first time, you're trying to figure out your water filter, reading the tiny instructions by flashlight, fumbling with parts, realizing you're missing a piece, or you don't get how it works, or it's already broken and you never knew because you never once tried it. That's the worst possible time to learn. Under stress, in the dark, with everything on the line. Panic makes your hands shake and your brain stupid. Skills you actually own, that live in your hands, those hold up under pressure. Stuff you only read about falls apart. Gear doesn't save you. Skill saves you. The gear is just a tool for the skill. And a tool in the hands of somebody who's never used it is barely better than no tool at all. So here's your homework, and it's the fun kind. Use your stuff. This weekend, set up the stove and cook a whole meal on it. Run creek water through your filter and drink it. Fire up the generator. Pitch the tent in the backyard. Spend a night with the power shut off on purpose. And live off your setup. Do it now when a mistake just means you learn something, instead of month 3, when a mistake means real trouble. Every gadget you own you should have used at least once. The ones that matter a bunch of times. Until it's boring. Until your hands know it in the dark. Practice turns a pile of gear into actual readiness. Without it, you just spent a lot of money on props. And speaking of spending money wrong, that leads right into a mistake that empties your wallet and leaves you weaker than when you started. Mistake number 17. You bought toys instead of basics. This one's about money, and about how easy it is to prep the wrong things. There's a trap in this world. It's exciting to buy the cool stuff. The tactical gear, the gadgets, the high-tech doodads with all the features. It feels like prepping. It feels productive. And it drains your money right past the boring things that actually keep you alive. Mistake number 17 is spending on wants instead of needs. Toys instead of basics. Let me show you how backwards it gets. A guy will drop hundreds on a fancy knife, a tactical vest, night vision, the shiniest new toy, but he's got a 2-week supply of food and almost no water stored. He looks the part, he's got the gear of a movie survivor, but he'll hit the month 3 wall just as hard as somebody with nothing, because you can't eat a tactical vest and night vision doesn't hold any water. The stuff that actually gets you through is boring, painfully boring. Food, water, a way to clean water, a way to cook, medicine, something to stay warm. That's the meat of survival, and none of it is exciting. And that's exactly why people skip past it for the fun stuff. So here's the rule I want you to live by. Cover the basics first, all the way, deep. Before you buy a single toy, ask yourself a simple question with every dollar. Will this keep me alive in month 3? A bucket of rice, yes. Extra water filters, yes. A cool gadget with 10 features you'll never use, probably not. Be honest. The wallet's only so deep, and every dollar on a toy is a dollar not on food. Get the boring stuff first. Get plenty of it. Then, once you're truly covered, if there's money left, fine, buy a toy. But not before. Because in month 3, nobody's impressed by your gear. They're just hungry, and either you've got food or you don't. Boring keeps you alive. Cool just looks good in a photo. Now, once you've got the real supplies, deep and boring and plentiful, you've got something worth protecting. And how you think about protecting it is where a lot of folks go wrong. Mistake number 18. You assumed people would stay civil. I don't like this one either, but I'd be lying to you if I skipped it. So here it is. A lot of preppers quietly assume that when things get hard, people will pull together. Be kind, be patient, wait their turn. And look, in the first days, a lot of them do. Disasters bring out good in folks. Neighbors helping neighbors. It's real and it's beautiful. But mistake number 18 is betting your family's safety on that lasting because it changes. Here's the hard truth about month 3. In the first weeks, people are polite because they still believe help is coming. The government, the trucks, the rescue, they wait because they're sure it's temporary. But when weeks turn to months and no help comes, their own kids are crying from hunger. Good people change, not because they're bad, because they're desperate. And a desperate parent will do things a comfortable one never would. That's the part you have to understand. It's not about evil people, it's about ordinary people pushed past the edge. Hunger rewrites the rules. By month 3, the polite line at the store is a memory, and the person who was your friendly neighbor is now a scared, starving human who knows you've got food. I'm not telling you this to make you paranoid. I'm telling you so you're not naive. Because naive gets people hurt. So what do? You quietly think about security before you need it. Not to be a tough guy. To protect the people you love. Make your home less of a target. That starts with mistake number 8. Keeping quiet. Staying gray. Not looking like the house with supplies. Simple stuff to slow somebody down. Good locks. Thorny bushes under windows. A dog, even a small yappy one, is a fantastic alarm. Know your home's weak spots before somebody else finds them. Have a plan with your people for what you'd do if trouble came to the door. Talk about it now, calm, so you're not deciding in a panic later. And be ready to protect your family in whatever way fits your beliefs and your situation. Hope people stay good. Plenty will. But don't bet your children on it. Hope for the best. Quietly prepare for the worst. That's not fear. That's love with its eyes open. Now, protecting your family means understanding that not everyone in your family has the same needs. And forgetting that is one of the most heartbreaking mistakes on this whole list. Number 19. Mistake number 19. You only prepped for a healthy adult. Here's a mistake that hides in plain sight, and it hurts the ones you love most. Most prepping is built around one imaginary person. A strong, healthy grown-up who can eat anything, walk far, haul weight, and bounce back from a rough day. And if that's who you planned for, but your actual family looks different, you're in for a brutal surprise in month 3. Mistake number 19 is forgetting that real families have babies, kids, old folks, sick folks, and pets. And every one of them has needs the tough adult plan skips right over. Think about a baby. A baby can't eat rice and beans. A baby needs formula, or specific food, and diapers. And if you didn't store a deep supply of exactly that, no amount of survival grain does you a bit of good. That's a special kind of panic, watching a hungry infant with a pantry full of food they can't eat. Think about older folks. Maybe they can't chew the tough stuff. Maybe they've got health conditions. Maybe they need medicine daily, which loops right back to mistake 11. Their bodies are more fragile. The cold hits harder. Sickness hits harder. The month 3 wall hits them first and hits them hardest. Think about the kids. They need more comfort, more calories for their size as they grow, more reassurance when they're scared. And your pets, their family too. Do you have food for them? Because a hungry dog is a heartbreak you can prevent right now, with a bag of kibble in the closet. So here's what you do. You look at your actual family, the real people under your roof, and you prep for them. Every single one. Baby needs formula and diapers? Store months of it. Someone needs special food or medicine. Stock deep and talk to the doctor. Older folks need softer food and more warmth. Plan for it. Kids need comfort and extra calories? Build it in. Pets need feeding? Bag it up. Don't prep for a soldier that doesn't live in your house. Prep for the people who actually do. The ones you're doing all of this for in the first place. All right, we're at the end. 19 mistakes down. And the last one, number 20, is the deadliest of them all, because it's the one that undoes every bit of good work you've done. Stay with me. Mistake number 20. You thought the danger had passed. Here it is, the last mistake. And after everything we've covered, this is the one that kills the people who did almost everything right. Mistake number 20 is letting your guard down too soon. Let me tell you exactly how it happens, because it's so natural you won't even feel it coming. You make it through the first hard weeks. Things get a little steady. Maybe the worst seems to be over. Maybe help looks like it's finally coming, or the danger seems to be fading, and you breathe out, you relax, you start eating a little more freely, skipping the routine, getting sloppy with security, telling yourself the hard parts behind you. And that's the exact moment it gets you, because month 3 is a liar. It's the point where a lot of crises are only halfway through, but your brain is exhausted and desperate to believe it's ending. So you ease up right when you need to stay sharp. You blow through supplies you were rationing. You drop the habits that kept you safe. And if there's a second wave, a longer haul than you figured, you've got nothing left and your guard is down. I've seen it in every kind of hard time. People survive the big scary event, and then they trip over the long boring middle because they quit too early. They mistook a pause for the end, and the ones who made it weren't tougher or luckier. They just refused to relax until it was truly, actually over. So here's the mindset that carries you all the way through. It's not over until it's over. You stay steady. You keep the routine. You keep rationing smart even when it feels safe. You keep your eyes open even when things look calm. You keep growing food, keeping clean, watching out, holding the line. Not forever, just until it's real, genuine, no doubt about it over. Slow and steady the whole way through beats a fast burst that fizzles out in month 3. The race isn't to the first person who relaxes. It's to the last one still standing. Don't celebrate at the halfway point. Celebrate at the finish line, bringing it all home. So there they are. The 20 mistakes that kill preppers in month 3. Let me tie it together, because it all points to one thing. Every single one of these mistakes comes from the same root. People prep for the disaster, the loud part, the first night, but they don't prep for the long, gray, grinding middle. The month 3 wall, that's where the real test is. Not in the excitement, in the endurance. Real prepping isn't a wall of cans you buy once and forget. It's food you'll actually eat, that you rotate, counted in calories, not cans. It's water and a way to make more. It's fuel to cook, and fat to survive, and small comforts to keep your spirit alive. It's staying quiet, spreading it out, keeping clean, keeping your mind strong. It's medicine and skills and a few good people, and prepping for your real family, pets and babies and grandparents and all. And it's the discipline to stay steady all the way to the true end, and not one day sooner. You don't have to fix all 20 tonight. That's not the point. The point is, you now know where the wall is. You can see it coming. And that puts you miles ahead of the person who's going to walk into month 3 blind, standing in a kitchen full of food, wondering why it all fell apart. Pick one mistake, just one, the one that hit you hardest while you were listening, and go fix it this week. Then pick another. That's how it's done. Not all at once, one honest step at a time. Do me a favor. Tell me down in the comments which mistake caught you off guard. Number 7, the comfort stuff. Number 15, going it alone. I read them and it helps me know what to cover next. And if this straightened out even one thing in your plan, subscribe and stick around. Because being ready isn't about fear. It's about looking after the people you love, no matter what tomorrow brings. You've got time to fix this. Right now, today, while it's easy. Don't waste it. I'll see you in the next one. Stay ready.